Hello, and welcome to Blanket Fort Books. This is the podcast where we discuss books and everything else. I'm Wit at Wit and Wisdoms on Twitter.
I am Rachel, which you can reach me at Abrams Records on Twitter.
And I am Gabe, and you can follow me on Twitter at BoardSeed.
So this is a really exciting episode. We're going to be talking about all things true crime. Now, Rachel and I are huge true crime fans.
Yes.
Gabe, not so much, but I think you still like it, right?
Yeah, if the right thing kind of just comes along.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk about some true crime things that we have picked. But before we start, Gabe, what is something that you have enjoyed in the last little while?
So something that I've enjoyed recently, and I guess it's something I briefly talked to you about, but after a few years, I returned to watching The Handmaid's Tale, the Hulu series.
Oh, yes.
And I'm on season 2 finally. I stopped at season 1, episode 8, and just kind of forgot. But when I picked up from it again recently, it was like I remembered everything clear as day. And I was thinking, I like really realized, I was like, who would watch this? Because the reason being, like, so much of it is like, if you know the premise of the show, which I really just don't want to live through explaining again. There's just like so many just graphic assault and sexual assault scenes for like several minutes per episode through season 1, almost to the point where it's like, you think it's just like some cheap shock value television of 2014. But when I started season 2, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk about it, it was such a shift from like episode 10 of season 1 going into season 2. I was like, is this the same show? I realize I'm late because like season 3 has already come out, but in comparison, the first season was like totally low budget, probably filmed in like the Boston suburbs in the wintertime on a Sunday morning when no one was around. And a lot of it was like, Rachel, you'll probably appreciate this. A lot of the slow dialogue sequences with long pauses.
Wait, season 1 or season 2?
Season 1 of The Handmaid's Tale was
good,
very.
Because I was like, are you promoting this? Or?
No, but it was like to the point where it like almost kind of seems dated now, because like you could probably have like a several hour compilation of Elizabeth Moss, like her actor playing this main character, like of just her close-up silent facial expressions. Like the whole series is her like
No.
for like the whole first season. But anyway, about why season 2 is so good. It's no longer putting me through trauma after trauma without room to breathe. Without spoiling, we kind of get to travel, I guess, and get to see far-reaching effects of this society. And like the world building, like it does so many favors for the world building, and I was blown away by the locations and their memorable like set pieces and just all the scenery. It's like, oh my gosh, they really thought about this. And I got to mention like the soundtrack and the score. I realized of the whole, even season 1, honestly, it was like outstanding to me. It's always been impressive, atmospheric, and should be commended for such. And also the reason why season 1 seemed to lack in comparison is like, if you know about The Handmaid's Tale at all, the first season really kind of just says, wow, look at what could be, and doesn't stop doing that for episode after episode. But now it's like we get back to these stories that really make this dystopian fiction feel tangible and even more terrifying. I mean, it still shows without telling too much, but instead of relying on like unwatchable, totally gross scenes to shock, it finds a balance of subtlety, and the ominous horrors are definitely still floating around in my imagination even after watching it. But I'm not done season 2, so hopefully it stays good, but that's my impression, and I'm like so impressed so far.
Wait, how far are you in season 2?
Episode 6.
Sweet.
Ooh.
So if anybody is like, maybe they know that something bad's gonna happen in like episode 8, then they're gonna be like, oh shit.
That's a show I definitely need to watch. I read the book in high school and
be careful.
Enjoyed it.
Season
oh, no.
1 is a Band-Aid to rip off
Oh,
very
no.
slowly and painfully, as you just heard me say.
Yeah.
It's a rough one, but I think season 2 is worth it so far.
Well, I'll try to hold out till then. Rachel, what have you enjoyed recently?
Actually, it's funny. It's a movie that is not recent at all. One that you have told me you used to love watching. It's Good Will Hunting.
I love Good Will Hunting.
It's funny because I went into it just being like, oh, you know, it's like a classic. It'll be good. But then like I actually cried.
Yeah, it's emotional.
I think, did we watch it together?
No, I've never seen it up until like a week ago, I think.
Why do I feel like Whitney asked me, didn't you say that we watched Good Will Hunting together? And I'm like, no, we didn't.
No, I've never watched it with you. I once made my math teacher put it on for the class.
Because it's about math.
It is about math.
Who did I see Good Will Hunting with? I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know.
To that person.
We had this conversation where you told Whitney that you had never watched Sweeney Todd, but you had actually watched it with me.
Yeah.
I remember the thing that you said about the pies, but not until you told me recently. I was like, wait, that did happen. But then I remember myself just straight up telling Whitney, no, I've never seen Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just a liar.
Yeah,
so
you
essentially
are.
Gabe just 2 times both of us.
But to give everyone a little bit of background, when me and Gabe actually originally watched Sweeney Todd forever ago, I had just happened to have made chicken pot pie that night and had some leftovers. And mid-movie, while they're eating people pie, I was like, Gabe, would you like some chicken pot pie? And of course he did. So we
Yum.
both ate, pot pie while watching Sweeney Todd. Anyway, sidetracked. So Good Will Hunting, it was really good. I mean, it was nothing like groundbreaking or any, to
kidding.
me,
I'm just kidding.
but it was good. And I mean, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. We share a birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
It's not
July.
her birthday today. No, it was really good. And I think that it's just one to make sure if you're trying to go through your classics, or as a friend of mine would say, culture, then you got to watch it.
For sure.
What about you, Whit?
Mine is also not a recent movie at all. It's actually one of my childhood favorites, and it's very random. I had something else picked out to talk about, and then I watched this today, and it is the 2002 original Spider-Man.
What? Yes.
I love this movie so much. Like, I don't think anything will ever beat it.
So good.
It's so good. I probably saw it for the first time when it came out when I was like 6, and I've loved it ever since. I've seen it so many times. I haven't seen the sequels quite as much, but I remember liking those a lot too. And it was just such a great time. I think I'm going to watch the rest later tonight.
I watched Spider-Man 2 most recently, and I mean, I probably haven't seen the first or third one in years and years prior to that. But when I watched Spider-Man 2, having been exposed to all the new Marvel movies, when I saw that, I was like, this is one of the best films I've ever seen.
Absolutely,
period.
yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is up there, I have to say.
Tobey Maguire is just like the best. Like, I'm sorry, but no other
It's true.
actor is going to play Spider-Man better than him. And I just remember as a kid wanting to be MJ so badly, and rewatching this movie, she is such like just a classic teenager. Like, it's so great, and I love it so much.
I think like Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire, they just have so much depth that they bring to
Absolutely.
those characters that are just like
Yeah.
comic book characters. And it was like the best first time that a Marvel movie was like a big explosion.
And that movie is ahead of its time. Like,
Absolutely.
if that same exact movie came out in 2020, it would be a hit. Like Willem Dafoe, James
Not
Franco, like
not enough CGI though.
true,
Wouldn't
but
be
like
up to snuff.
sometimes I just like want like that early 2000s
Yeah.
vibe, and it was just such a great time, and I loved it so much.
Yeah, or just like practical sets and costumes.
Yeah.
They totally like that movie really just elevates that.
I am unaware if I've ever seen it, but I'm thinking maybe me and Gabe
I
may have
I
watched
think
it in
we
the
did.
basement.
serious?
We
Like,
definitely did, but I think you were probably like 13s, because I think I remember there being like a video CD of all 3 movies jam packed on it in really terrible quality.
That kind of sounds like that might have been the
And
case.
it might have been turned into a coaster on your table.
Yeah, whenever we'd have, we'd like, do our burns of DVDs and they either were duds or, weren't worth watching again. They became a coaster.
Yeah.
Still have them. Some of them
good.
became like a CD wreath.
That's amazing.
Right. What
Yeah.
happened to the CD wreath?
I don't know.
I kind of forget what it looked like.
The wreath of CDs.
Was it on the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that was our childhood.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if you're hearing anything weird, Gabe's cat is purring in his lap, and it's very sweet. He has some respiratory issues, and he's a little bit snorty.
No, I'm dead serious. That's him.
He's our new guest. We will
so
incorporate him with every
I
situation.
feel like some people might find that disgusting.
I mean, he has a lot to say. Like, that's what he's been liking lately.
Yeah.
He needed to
Puddles,
insert his input.
who is your favorite actor or actress? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
That was like sonar waves.
Oh, dear.
All right. So now we're going to get into the meat of the episode, if you will, because this podcast is a coconut. And
Can it be the tofu of the... Just kidding. I'm not a vegetarian.
So we all picked out something true crime related that we wanted to discuss. There was a lot to choose from. And I think Rachel is going to start us off. So what would you like to talk about?
Well, mine would actually be a new favorite of a podcast called Dark Poutine, or Dark Poutine, as they would call it.
No, that's wrong.
It is incorrect. Anyway, so they basically take a bunch of different true crime stories from Canadian culture. Well, I should say culture, Canadian history. Culture is the Poutine part. And anyway, it's really interesting. So I believe the guys who do it are out of BC. And so the kind of the opener that I listened to the other day was kind of easing us into the true crime of Canada, where all these floating feet were washed up.
I love this story. It's so funny.
Ew.
I was doing some late night driving and I was like, I need to keep myself awake. Let's listen to some scary crime.
Oh, yes.
Okay, where was this?
So, I mean, don't trust me. I'm like quoting something I was like vaguely listening to while driving, but basically in and around BC and some parts of Alberta and some parts of Washington, all of these feet, like one at a time, were just like coming up on the shore.
Yeah, and they were in shoes,
In
weren't they?
shoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it was like someone would just be like, hey, a shoe, and pick it up and be like, oh, a foot.
That's the grossest surprise.
And no one could figure out why. But then once after, I don't know, like the fifth foot, like it was found, it was a match to one of the other feet.
I was about to ask if they found a pair.
Well, for a while it was like a size 9 men's shoe, but it was a Nike shoe. And then it was like a size 9, but it was like Adidas. But then it was
Sounds
like a
like
size...
Marshalls.
Right? So basically they ended up, not everyone was figured to why they ended up there and why they never found any other part. I think what a lot of people had discovered was there was a lot of like, unfortunately, like suicide incidents around these places. And when these people would be in the water for a long part of the time, their feet would be the only thing that would end up washing ashore in their shoes. Because I guess the tendons and bones would just... and there goes their feet.
What?
Or it's like
Yeah.
some sharks and they don't like feet.
Maybe.
Wait,
No
so
feet.
there's no crime. It's just a scientific
Yeah.
moment.
And like,
Like
most of them were to be attributed to that. Some of them they didn't know where they
Okay,
came
well
from.
well, if there's a few that are like, these look a little suspect. Like, okay, well,
I just don't know if they could ever prove one way or the other what
But
happened.
has this ever happened anywhere else though? Like it must.
Well, it's
if this
weird
was a
because I think they
phenomenon.
started coming up like within weeks and months of each other. Like it wasn't like one foot in like 2012 and another foot in 2018. Like it was like close to each other. It's
Is
like
it still happening today?
I mean, not that I've looked into, but I haven't really looked
I
into
feel
that.
like if this was a natural phenomenon, it would continue to happen and it would be like, oh yeah, this river is known for its occasional wind.
Oh, like there's that forest in Japan, like that, except it's not really a phenomenon.
Yeah, and
it's just
like
sad.
it's like, oh, all the spooky like 13-year-olds would be like, Mom and Dad, let's go on a field trip with my friends. I want to scare them at this lake of floating feet, and then they'd be like, what do you mean? That's a real thing. Don't make jokes about that.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, that was the opener for me for that podcast, which I thought it was kind of funny the way that they did it, which is why I liked it, but also like they got their facts. The next episode that I listened to from Dark Poutine was about the Abbotsford killer. So it's in BC, and this guy who was like raping and killing. Well, actually, I think there was only one specific incident that they had linked him to, but it got really spooky because as I'm driving at night on the highway, pitch black, listening to like true crime, they ended up playing back some of his live, like his 911 calls and police taunts.
Those so much. And
I was like, oh, I don't like this. This is a real guy. But it was good. It was a 2-parter episode. I don't know. I really like listening to it, and it's local.
Yeah.
Local to my country.
I love that. I want to know the scary stuff that's happening right here.
Right? But then they did go off a little bit. Like the next episode I listened to was actually about the Halifax explosion in 1917. Mm-hmm. It's not really true crime. It was just stupidity.
Yeah.
I kind of forget what that was all about.
Basically, it was during the First World War, and there was a ship that was like loaded up with like, it was literally a floating bomb. Like it was just like loaded. And a harbor pilot was bringing another ship in, and these two ships were basically playing chicken. Like one was like with the horn, like move, and the other one was like no. And then they hit each other and started a fire. And then the crew was like, we need to get out, but the other ship didn't realize that they just hit a bomb. And then anyway, a fire escalated, and then it ended up blowing up the whole port.
Oh my God.
No offense to anyone affected by that or Canadian history, but that is straight up a Looney Tunes episode.
It really is. Where is the anvil? Like it was, yeah.
That is a Coyote and Roadrunner moment.
It was a little bit not, like it wasn't to me a true crime story, but like I feel a little more educated.
Yeah, it's like a cautionary tale.
Yeah, don't hit a ship when your ship is full of ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
Noted.
Don't play chicken in the water with boats.
Any other situation, play chicken, just not in the water. Yeah, so that's what I've been listening to. I mean, Whitney has certainly given me a plethora of recommendations of different true crime podcasts to listen to. So my subscription box is like filled with notifications of ones that I do have to listen to, but that would be the one that I'm on right now.
Yes, you really need to listen to My Favorite Murder, which is amazing.
It's on my list.
It's like the best. So good. Just two comedians talking about true crime and making jokes. And
I love it
really
already.
Good.
I love it already. What's your true crime of the week?
Okay, so the true crime story that I chose to go with is the case of Chris Watts. This is what the newish Netflix documentary American Murder is based on, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. But I kind of did a deep dive into this, and I've got some notes. Mm-hmm. So this is about Shanann and Chris Watts, who were a married couple, and they had 2 young children, Bella and Celeste. Shanann she worked for an MLM company, and she did a lot of like Facebook and Instagram lives. She kind of broadcast her entire life. So people were very familiar with her. She had a large following. Like she went on a lot of company trips, got a company car. Like she was like up in this company at the top of the pyramid, if you will. And there were times when like Chris would be on the, like the Facebook Live, and he would be very weird. He was very like introverted and shy, but a lot of people thought the way he acted on the lives was very interesting. So Shanann was pregnant with their 3rd child, and she went live when she told Chris that she was pregnant, and the way he reacted was like a big red flag for a lot of people. It was very, very strange. So from there, we're skipping ahead a couple months, and Shanann and the kids went on a 6-week vacation to visit her family. And while she was gone, Chris kind of stopped texting her, didn't answer her calls, wouldn't talk to the children. And Shanann was like very concerned and upset, and like, it's like, you don't want to talk to me. And meanwhile, he started sleeping with his coworker, Nicole, which Shanann was very like suspicious of. Like, she knew something was going on, even though he was like avoiding it and saying, oh, I love you, I'm just so busy at work and under a lot of stress right now. Meanwhile, this whole time he is like very invested in this relationship with Nicole. And something I thought was really interesting with it, which I told Gabe about, was he had a secret app on his phone that just like looked like a calculator, but you'd put in a passcode into the calculator, and then all of like your hidden shit would come up. So he would keep, he would keep all of like the nudes that Nicole sent him, all the pictures of them like on vacation and stuff while his wife and kids are away.
He sucks.
He sucks. He
Locked
gets
in
worse.
a calculator app, though. That's like the most genius thing I've ever heard in my life.
No, not genius. Dick.
I mean,
just
that's
the fact
awful,
that
but
exists,
like,
though, isn't that cool?
I know. I had no idea. I mean, that's crazy. I have nothing to hide, but I kind of want it.
I want to hide mine like behind Flappy Bird instead of calculator. And you have to win like 10 levels consecutively to get into it.
That's really funny.
So it would take a lot of hard work and effort.
Okay, so when Shanann comes home, Chris is still acting super weird, and he like sits Shanann down and tells her that he doesn't want the baby that she's already pregnant with. He's like, I'm so happy with just Bella and Cece. Like, I don't want this kid. Like, I never wanted this, even though like they were trying for a third baby. And there's, the court released like a 2,000-page, like, I don't know what to call it. It was like all the information of the trial and text messages and internet search history. And so all the text between her and one of her friends is in there when she's freaking out because Chris is telling her that she doesn't want this baby that she's already pregnant with. Like, what does he want her to do? And she's far along, like, I think it was like 6 or 8 months or something. Oh, yeah. So they are having issues. They're fighting. And then Shanann and her friend, who's also named Nicole, I will refer to her as the good Nicole, go to a work conference. And when they come back, their plane got delayed. So Nicole drops her off at home at around 2 a.m. And also when Shanann was away, Chris sends her the weirdest photo with no context of one of their daughters wrapped in a blanket, like a white blanket. It's covering her face. She's laying like stock still on the couch, and it's just like a white blanket covering her face. And Shanann posted it on Facebook and was like, I don't know what to think of this, ... Like, it was just very, very strange. So yeah, good Nicole drops Shanann off, and then the next morning tries to contact her. Nicole knew she had a doctor's appointment, so she was just like, hey, how did the doctor's appointment go? Like, everything good with the baby? What's up? And Shanann doesn't answer, and Nicole doesn't hear from her like all day. And it's just very weird because, like I said, Shanann's like whole job and everything is online. Like, it's weird for her to not be with her phone. So, like the good friend that she is, she goes to check on her. She is like at the door, and they have one of those like doorbells that will like send a video to your phone. It'll be like, hey, someone's at your door. So Chris sees, and he calls Nicole, and he's like, hey, like, get off my property, essentially. Like, he's very standoffish. And she's like, oh, I'm just like worried about Shanann. Like, what's up? And he told her that she went on a play date. But when Nicole looks in the garage, her car, which is like their only car, is there with the car seats in the back. So obviously she didn't go anywhere. So she calls the police to do a welfare check.
Oh, good Nicole.
Yeah, I know. Amazing that she did this. And they can't go in without Chris's permission. So Chris comes home, he makes all these excuses. He's like, oh no, you can't get in. Like, that door doesn't work. The passcode to the garage doesn't work. Like, just wait till I get home. And he comes home and he's being super weird. There's even like a scene in the documentary where he walks out of the room and I think it's Nicole's son who was with her, was like, that's not how he acts. Like he's being very, very weird. Like, I'm telling you, this is not normal. And when they're in the house, they find Shanann's phone, all of her belongings. And Chris is like, oh, we had a fight. Like, she probably left with the children and she's mad at me, but like, how would she go anywhere and where would she go? And like, all of her belongings are there. And the only thing in the house that's missing are all of the bed sheets off all of the beds. So off of the girls' beds and off of the master bed.
Bad
which is
sign.
Very sus. So yeah, he claims they had a fight. He went to work, etc. He does an on-TV interview with like the press show up because I don't know, because she was like a figure. So they show up and they're like, Chris, like, do you want to do an interview? And everyone was telling him not to, and he does. And the whole time he's like laughing and smiling. And he's like, I just want my wife and kids to come home. Like, I don't know where they are. And like is a terrible liar, and you can tell. So one of their neighbors from across the street has security cameras that show the whole street. I think they were trying to catch like graffiti artists or something. And afterwards they got the security cam footage. And it shows Chris bringing his work truck into the garage, which the neighbor said that he never did because it like leaked oil, and Shanann got like super mad when it was like in the driveway. It was always parked on the street, but he brought it in the garage, and then it shows him loading something into the truck 3 different times, like large things. So that is also very suspicious. They bring Chris into the police station because obviously he's a suspect. He does a polygraph. Don't know why. Fails miserably, obviously. He keeps saying that he keeps saying that he doesn't know anything, but they took the GPS out of his work truck and they found out where he went, and he worked for like an oil company, and he went like kind of out in the middle of nowhere where there's big oil tanks and everything, and they got drone footage and they find the bed sheets from the beds there.
Oh no.
I know. It's crazy. And he's still like, I don't know how they got there. Who freaking knows? I didn't do anything. And then he asks to speak to his father. So his father comes in the room, and he claims that he saw Shanann strangling the children and killing them. And he got super mad and said he blacked out in rage and then strangled Shanann and didn't know what to do. So he says that he killed her because she had killed the children, and that was his reasoning. And then he admitted to burying Shanann in a shallow grave out in that oil field or whatever, and he put the children in the oil tank, which is devastating. It doesn't confirm this in the documentary, but it does say that when he brought the children there, they were alive. They were begging him not to. They were asking about their mom, wondering what happened. Anyway, obviously, Shanann didn't kill the children. He did it. They did autopsies, and it was revealed that the kids were smuggled, not strangled, and Shanann was strangled, so there was stuff that didn't add up, and he finally confessed. He was found guilty for 3 murders and got 5 life sentences. Meanwhile, Nicole, bad Nicole, the mistress Nicole, has her Google search history was found, and it is very, very concerning. This is just, I thought,
Even
very...
the bonus.
Yeah, I just thought was like very interesting.
Bonus round, bad Nicole.
The documentary also kind of makes her out to be the good guy. She didn't get into any legal trouble. Nothing happened, but her search history was... So when Shanann was on vacation, she was Googling wedding dresses. She was Googling man says he'll leave wife for you. She was Googling marrying your mistress, which like you can just figure out how that's going to work. Like, it's not going to work. Stop Googling that.
Wow.
She also Googled how to prepare for anal sex. So, and then Googled, threesome with double penetration. So I don't know what they were planning.
Oh, this is a nightmare. This is embarrassing.
Wow.
And then after Chris was brought in for questioning, she Googled, can cops find hidden text messages?
Okay,
Yes,
wait,
they
how old
can.
is she?
I don't know, like in her 30s, 40s. Like she's a grown ass woman.
Okay.
And then after Chris gets arrested, goes to prison, she starts Googling about Amber Frey. She Googles Amber Fry. She Googles Amber Fry's book deal, Amber Fry's net worth, and did people hate Amber Fry? And she was the mistress of Scott Peterson, who was a man who murdered his pregnant wife.
Oh.
So she wanted to make some money off of this. It's very concerning.
Wow.
I wonder if that was
Did
between
people
the
hate
both
Amber
of them.
Fry? So if she publishes a book, don't buy it.
Don't.
Oh, that's a lot of stuff.
I hope
That-
Good Nicole publishes a book.
Same. Like, thank God for Good Nicole and her son for showing up, because that didn't give Chris time to do anything. Like, he had to rush home to talk to the police. Like, he didn't have time to really like come up with a story or
But why
change
in your
anything.
work truck?
I know. He also called the kids' school at 8:30. So 5:30 in the morning is when he was seen loading things into his truck. And then at 8:30 in the morning, he called the kids' school and was like, they'll never be coming back. And then hung up. Just said they're never coming back to school.
He sounds like a dumbass.
He is a dumbass. And the fact, like, in the documentary, it's great because the whole thing was filmed on body cams of the cops. So you see like everything, like you get all of it. And then in the interrogation room, the lady who's going to do the polygraph is like, so you agreed to this. Like, obviously you would be the biggest dumbass if you're going through with this and you had anything to do with the murder. So if you want to back out now. And he's like, nah, I'll do the polygraph. I didn't have anything to do with it. Fails everything horribly.
Oh my gosh.
I'd honestly, like, if it were me, I would take the polygraph even if I knew I was going to fail it, because maybe there's that slight chance that you'll pass because they're not 100% accurate.
I think that's what a lot of people think, or just the confidence going in. I mean, they can't actually convict on polygraph, can they?
I don't think so, but it's like
Wouldn't it
some
sway
good
the-
evidence.
Oh,
in
it
court.
is
It'll
like
sway the jury.
to a jury. Yeah, I mean, to be like, he failed this, obviously, but they can't actually convict on it. So maybe he just kind of thought,
Well, I think he was
give it a go.
definitely a narcissist.
Yeah.
Definitely was like, oh, stupid polygraph test. Of course I can pass this. Like, nobody's going to catch me.
Yeah.
Like, he's just the biggest dumbass. Anyway.
I feel like one thing I always find with true crime, which is a horrible side of it because I know it is true, but it's like, people are so dumb. Why wouldn't they do it this way? Like, I would know how to commit a perfect crime.
I know. And the whole time when he's like being interrogated and questioned, he shows absolutely no remorse. They're asking him about his like baby girls, and he's like, I don't know. Like, she probably just took him. She killed him. I don't know. I don't care.
Ugh.
Like, it's so gross. And then he cries after she's like, show me that you care about them if you want me to believe that you didn't do it. And then he's like, oh, I'm sad. Like, you are very stupid, sir.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he was stupid because he deserves to rot in jail.
That just sounds like a dumb sociopath.
Yep. Anyway, that is the true crime story that I chose to speak about. That was a lot and very sad.
Yeah, it was.
I need
Like,
to
don't
watch
get me
it now.
wrong, I'm depressed. Like, that was
Yeah.
sad. But I made inappropriate jokes.
Well, I think that's how, like, you deal with topics like this. We're obviously not making fun of the fact that people were murdered and horrible things happened. We're just coping with these horrible stories.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just think it's funny that the mistress was such a dumb bitch.
I like her search history.
Me too. I don't want anyone to get my search history.
I feel like it's a little bit less incriminating.
I mean, yeah, but like the fact that that was in there, like, she must be so embarrassed.
Yeah, I'd
Delete every
I'd be
day.
like, if you're gonna publish my search history, at least only put the relevant things in.
Don't, like, who cares if I was preparing for anal sex? Like, you don't need to put that in there.
It's like, I don't even want you to know what I was looking up on Amazon.
Yeah.
No one's gonna want to know. You just put that in there because it was scandalous.
There was a section in there about what they bought on Amazon too.
Okay, well, do you have any details?
There was nothing like super juicy, but Shanann had bought like a book on marriage counseling that she gave to Chris.
Wow, that's predictable.
And he was like, yeah, I'll read it, and then didn't because he's an asshole. Like, she was really trying to make it work. And I just gotta say, like, if you don't want to be with your wife anymore and you want to be with someone else, there is this wonderful thing called divorce. And like, I think maybe he should have looked into that before he jumped the gun.
Maybe just a bit.
But
Because now he can't be with anyone.
We're going back to 1600 as it is, and I don't think divorce existed then.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, the way that everything's going politically, we're going to be sent back to 1600.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
I would forget when divorce was created. It honestly could have been like 1580 for all I know, but
I thought you were implying that this story took place in 1600, and I was
No,
like,
I'm sorry, I
was
didn't make
they
that
didn't
clear.
have Google.
I was just talking about Facebook Live and Google and MLMs.
yeah, just don't assume everyone lives in present day when divorce is a thing. That's all I have to say.
All right. Okay. What is your story?
Oh, are we going into it now? Okay.
Wait,
Going into it.
This one, okay, this is a ride. Bear with me with this one. So, television broadcast hijacking.
Yes, I know all about
This
this.
spooks me beyond
Okay.
It's really
spookability.
scary.
Don't say
I
anything.
won't, but I'm
Oh.
already spooked.
I'm so glad you picked this. It's such a
Okay.
you topic.
Yeah, because like this
Cry.
is like is well, the first time I heard about it when I was very young on the internet, I was like, I was just so afraid. Like it's so haunting, something I would dream about. So like television broadcast hijacking is a mysterious and often startling occurrence that happened mostly during the 20th century. Television as a live, purely ongoing broadcast was fully dictated by the networks. The internet didn't exist. So when something glitched into your TV, something like particularly lo-fi and unrelating to the seemingly impenetrable live feed, just, coming into existence would just be particularly, shocking, I think, if you were just like in your living room eating your TV dinners as one did in the 80s.
I still do that, so whatever.
That's
Well, like
right.
with the tables, like the fold out
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
tables you bring to the couch, like in
Yes.
Matilda.
Yes, my parents use those every day.
So like, this is something I learned when I was looking into this. This actually happened a lot in the Soviet Union when, with the radio, when the government controlled or at least wanted to control everything on the airwaves. They were often called pirate operators. And these were often young people who would have built transmitters themselves from stolen scraps or purchased them through illegal means. Officially, the government called them hooligans transmitting just like nonsense and pop music. However, many of these pirate operators had call signs like Radio Millimeter or Fortune or Cucumber. And I think they were probably a lot more like organized than what was recorded, because the thing is, like, it was easy to track their signals using shortwave radios, apparently. So many of them were found and punished. But the interesting thing is, because like, Russia didn't share, USSR did not share information with us very much at all at that time. All of this information comes from like a single article that I found written in 1984 in an issue of Christian Science Monitor, with information from the BBC's Worldwide External Services. So it's not even like a first party account. There are no first party accounts that we at least have access to. So I think that's like, just think about all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. Like there's this scene of Soviet teenagers that were like illegally broadcasting pop music and stuff. I think that is worth a movie. But the main story I wanted to share, this was just kind of a setup, some context, was an occurrence known as the Wyoming incident. Does anybody know what this is?
I might when you talk about it, but I don't know it by that title.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Like, I really dug into it this time rather than just what I discovered on the surface. This is a relatively recent case of television broadcast hijacking. Most of this information I've taken is from an article published on the Wyoming AM radio station KGAB Radio. In 2006, a local television station's signal was interrupted with a grayscale pixelated image. The text reads, "A special presentation," accompanied by ominous music containing a variety of low-frequency tones. White text on black displays, "You will see such pretty things." and what follows it are close-up, distorted images of disembodied heads frozen in different poses and expressions. Often grainy, some look realistic, while others resemble poor 90s 3D animation, definitely in the uncanny valley territory.
Oh, yeah, this is what I thought it was, and I have chills. I hate
More
it.
titles in large font that fill the screen read, "Why do you hate? What hides in your mind?" Followed by, "We've already seen it." This goes on for quite a while. People who watched the broadcast in full reported nausea or audiovisual hallucinations, apparently due to the glitchy, pulsing audio. It ends with a close-up of what looks similar to a ventriloquist dummy's face, but in this case, just an ugly 3D animation with human-like lips, eyes closed and grinning. The final title reads, "We stand at the door," and for a moment, the special presentation title returns, and that was the end. So the internet has plenty of people analyzing everything about this broadcast, but the hijacker was never caught. Yeah.
So for anyone who still has cable, no, just cancel it, because the day that happens.
That's so scary. Like, I hate it so much.
I know, and there were so many other ones that happened too. Like, you look up the Max Headroom incident, where a scary guy wearing a mask mimicking like the Max Headroom TV cameos. He just shows up with a distorted, scary voice, and he's like spanking the ass of some woman on camera or something. And he's just like gibbering, like gibberish, like static is all you can hear. And he's never been caught either. And I think that's like equally as scary, because there's like people, like real people on the screen.
Do you remember? This is like bringing back memories of that strange YouTube video you used to show me.
Oh, I Feel Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a whole thing.
Do you know that, Whitney?
I think so.
I forget if people, yeah, you totally do. I remember blasting that in the previous apartment that we lived in.
Oh, yeah.
Or using it as a threat, because it is really scary. I don't really remember the whole thing about that. I think it was sort of low key revealed. It was just like somebody's university project, but don't quote me on that. But also, like, it was kind of confirmed that the person was particularly interesting. Like, they had a house full of weird stuff, maybe.
No.
But I'm just gonna stop because I don't know 100%. That's just what I think I got from the YouTube comments on those videos.
That also kind of reminded me of, do you remember that creepypasta story that I read to you on like the road trip we took on the way home? The normal porn for normal people.
Yes.
That's what it reminded me
Well,
of.
on that note, now that you said it, I just wanted to tell you that the Wyoming incident is actually fake.
What?
It is in fact a creepypasta.
It never happened at all?
No, or it could be also considered, as I learned, an alternate reality game, like creepypastas being viral, unsettling narratives and tales that were created on the internet, like Slender Man. An alternate reality game is an interactive narrative that uses the real world as a sort of like platform or premise to make it more believable.
Oh my God.
This can also, often be used for an integral part of viral marketing campaigns. The Wyoming incident was meant to be creepy and speculated, so like it makes sense, obviously. The radio station I mentioned, like KB 650 or whatever, that is a real radio station, and they really did publish an article about it. As though it was a real event. Like, I really went through the website to be like, is this just a fake radio station? But no, it's real. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was where it gained popularity, like from that article, or maybe they like just put it there to make this story. Like, maybe they were in on it and that kind of made it more believable to the internet, or they just didn't fact check. They just were like me when I was 13 and like heard this story and I was like, oh, well, that sounds real, and then just moved on. But that is not true. It was just basically a viral story, and it's a video somebody made on a computer. And if you actually go watch it, like, it looks kind of realistic, and it's still terrifying, and definitely don't watch it late at night. But, it's not real.
I had no idea.
Me either. I was like getting ready for you to be like more deets.
Well,
but not real.
I rather want, like, I only found out this was fake now, so I didn't want to change my topic. I was like, oh, I have to see this through. I've already like been set on this when I first started thinking about it. But I was like, damn, now like I just have to own up to being dumb, I guess, and gullible.
Well, I feel like so many people, like I've spent my whole life, not my whole life, but like probably since I was 13, thinking that was real.
Yeah.
Like I never questioned it.
Well, I was kind of hoping like you wouldn't know, so like at all, and then this would have been like extra spooky.
Well, I'm spooked.
Because I
I
would have
got chills.
scammed you. Like I totally scammed you.
But people have done that, right?
We've done what?
Like the broadcast hijacking.
They have. The Max Headroom in the Soviet Union thing is obviously real.
Yeah.
And like there have been other incidents where I think somebody hacked HBO one night and was just like, you're raising your subscription to $12.99 a month. That is true. That's
so funny.
And it's just like on the like test colors. And then it's like in like VHS static white text. And it was like on screen for like, I don't know, like 12 minutes or something. And then the guy got caught and arrested because he was found in a restaurant bragging about it.
Oh my goodness.
Why arrest? Why arrest? That's funny.
Well, I don't
That's
think I don't
It's
think
like a fine.
I think I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he was fined, but he was identified and prosecuted,
Oh
which is defeat.
my goodness. That's really funny.
True crime.
Yeah, mine's true crime, but it's fake.
We should do an episode where we like discuss like creepypastas. We all choose one.
Or we have to. Oh, we could do like, is it creepypasta or is it real?
Yes.
And we all
like,
have to go find one.
yeah.
But I feel like maybe we'd accidentally stumble upon another person's, and then that would ruin it.
Or maybe we do one that's like a truth and a lie. We do like one weird true crime story and one creepypasta, and you have to guess which one's real.
We could do 2 truths and a lie, but with pasta.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That's anyway.
That's a good idea.
That's an idea to explore. Keep an eye
Or maybe
out.
just make one up.
Yeah.
So then that way you can't, like one of us won't come across it on our search.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
One made up, one creepypasta, one true crime.
It's like Balderdash of the true crime world.
What if we just
Balderdash
made
is so
a board
fun.
game of that and put the creepypastas or the made up ones?
Hasbro,
with
listen to us right now.
citations
We have an
on the card?
idea.
Now we're
Oh my
talking.
God. I feel like I need to cut this out of the episode because I think we could get a Kickstarter for this and we would be rich.
Oh my gosh, I'm down.
A true crime
That's a
board game.
That's a board
People
game
love
that
true
people
crime.
would buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Okay, well, what's up? What else we got?
Okay, so now we are moving into my favorite part of the podcast, which is where I ask Rachel and Gabe a weird question that they don't know previously. This one's kind of a little bit choose your own adventure-y, so feel free to ask questions for more info.
Okay.
It's also entirely self-serving because I just want to know what kind of friends you guys are.
Ooh.
Oh, this is gonna be intense.
Can I make Gabe answer first? Because he always just thinks too much.
And this is also relevant to the episode.
That'll give you more time to think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let me set the scene. It's 2 a.m. I call you frantically, and I say that I've killed someone, and I'm in a hotel room, and I need your help. I give you no other information. What do you do?
Oh, this is open-ended? I thought it was going to be a multiple choice or yes and no.
No, it's open-ended, but you can ask for more info, but this is what I'm giving you right now.
Well,
And-
how about I tell you what I would ask next?
Okay, but keep in mind, I am frantic, in a panic. There's blood everywhere.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask, actually. How
Oh.
bad's the mess?
Oh, it is a mess. Like, it's like, think like a sketchy motel and like blood everywhere.
How far? Where are you?
Like, close. Like, I can't believe you're accounting for like travel time.
This is probably okay. With all of that information, I would this is how my thought process would go. I would think, okay, well, first of all, what am I going to have to do about this if I need to get involved? But first of all, I would then ask you this. I'd be like, okay, so what do you want me to do? Do you want me to turn you in? Because I feel like you would call me to turn you in.
No.
You would do that. You'd be like, I can't call the police on myself, so can you do it? And I'd go, okay. Or in this case, you really want me to do, like, you don't want to be imprisoned for the rest of your life. I would then go, okay, so I think we got to burn down this motel.
up the body. There's body, dental records, everything. You can't
In
just
the fire.
have you ever watched any crime show ever?
well,
They will find it.
So I don't want to be turned in. I need your help, like figuring out what to do.
Okay, well, I feel like I know exactly what we would do, but I don't think I don't think you're asking for my detailed response.
I feel like one element here is that if you call Gabe, he's going to call me. And if you call me, I'm going to call Gabe.
Well,
so
no,
this automatically turns into
I feel
me
like
and Gabe coming up.
Oh, I didn't say that.
No,
but
okay, so I call you and I'm like, don't tell anyone. Like, I just need you to
this
come.
is just a Gabe response.
Like, this is just personally each of you.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking, like, I guess in real life I totally would call you, but in this situation I was really thinking about it, like, what if it all, like, fell onto me to handle this? Well, I do think the best plan would be to set fire to the entire motel, but I think first we would really need to make that body completely confusing. I'd probably have to come see how this body became murdered into the murdered state.
How became murdered?
I would evaluate this, and then I would weigh the options of like, okay, so can we split it into pieces and spread it across the world like shards or like around the land?
Get out of there.
Horcruxes.
Well, yeah, like Horcruxes. That's what I was trying to say. Can we do that with like multiple bags?
Are you going to come cut up a dead body?
Like we would have to find a way. I don't care if it's repeatedly running over the limbs with the tire of a car, like to stay as far away as we can from it. But in fact, that's probably the best way to dispose of it, honestly, is just repeated crushing.
That's going to get in your treads.
Oh, and then I guess you'd make a trail. Like you'd leave a trail.
Are you gonna just like mop up the
I'm just
pavement?
imagining going in like the middle of the desert, like from the movie Psycho, and just doing it out in the middle, or like Breaking Bad.
Throwing the car into like a lake, and it just
like if you've seen Breaking Bad or House of Cards, bodies in the desert, you feel me on that.
Well, Whitney, if you called me, I would instantly be worried because it'd be like, what happened? Like, are you okay? And if you wouldn't give me, like, are you going to tell me why? Like, what happened?
No.
Okay.
I just did it. It happened. A blind rage.
Well, I would definitely show up.
Tinder date gone wrong.
Yeah, I didn't take that into account. I think I would have asked why, actually.
Yeah. So then I would show up. If it sound like, obviously it doesn't sound like you're in a great state. So I would probably, I'm not allowed to tell anyone else though, am I?
No, nobody.
So I'd show up and I'd assess the situation. I would show up and assess the situation.
I would evaluate, so you're on a whole other level.
And I would just be like, dead person, and I try to get it out why, because like I feel like if it was like a self-defense gone into like maybe a little bit too far, I'd be like, we can work this into your benefit, like we can like tell someone it was self-defense. But if it was just like blind rage, there's really no, I mean, I guess at that point we get rid of it.
How would you help me get rid of it?
Yeah, what's your specific disposal method? Because I provided one and I look crazy. So now you need to do one just as good.
I wouldn't want to do any cutting or dismembering in the motel. There's already enough there. We need to leave. It's true.
Back parking lot.
And everyone knows what it's like if you leave little bits in like a garbage can. Everyone knows what it's like. No one knows what this is like.
You know what it's like, clearly.
Watch a lot of crime, okay? Yeah. Okay. So I know what it's like, apparently. You don't want to leave it in the garbage because they can trace the garbage guy and then they find it in the friggin' landfill. So no. And you don't want any teeth left behind because dental records. You don't want any, you want to crush the skull and you want to get, like, you want to take the bones and you want to put them everywhere. You need to get rid of them. And maybe feed them to a tiger. I don't know. And then I don't know how you do a cleanup because I have never seen anyone clean up a crime scene
Your
and have
method
it go well.
Basically the same as mine.
But you got to get rid of it, but the teeth have to be gone. And if you leave the fire, they still have the bones and they can figure out.
Well, you just
how
leave a
old the
little bit,
bones
like
are.
just leave like
DNA, dude.
pieces.
No, DNA. Get it out of the motel.
I don't think, like, if they saw a motel catch fire, why would they assume that the missing person died in that fire?
Because if there's a missing person the same night a sporadic fire happens at a motel, they might look in the rubble.
I guess that was kind of dumb, but if you live in a big city, like, I feel like that might be hard to correlate. Or
mean,
even if
another
you
thing
wait a
is
day,
you could-
wait a day.
Yeah.
Check in for a couple days.
Where are you going to just keep a dead body for a couple days?
I'd be like, Whitney, you need to extend your day by 7 right now. I put it on my credit card if you have to.
That's not the problem.
But it would
It's
be
the
so
smell.
stinky.
You know, like when a person
Cold
passes
bathtub.
from this world, their entire body just voids everything.
Okay, so maybe like
And then
3
they start
days
decomposing.
max.
So there's like, you do not have time.
I would say we would drain the ice box at this motel, and
Yeah,
they'd be like,
'cause-
"Where's all this ice going?"
And you'd be like, I hurt my
I'm
back.
thirsty.
Lots of champagne, lots of celebrations.
No, out of the motel. Out.
I think most of it should stay in the motel. Like make the explosion epicenter right next to the body.
Like, I don't even know you. I would. I don't know.
If both of you showed up, you just stand there arguing while I'm like, I just killed
Okay, so
We'd yell so much that the cops would show up for domestic disturbance, and then they would see the dead person.
So I'm in
We'll all get
favor.
arrested.
I'm in favor of explosive disposal methods plus repeated crushing with the tires of a car.
I think-
How about you?
I mean, in the city that we're in, I think our best option is to take the body in little pieces out into the ocean in a kayak and just throw it.
Just
But
spread
the teeth go somewhere else.
Go into a lake.
Yeah,
not the sea,
different
a
bodies of
lake.
I'll
water.
just keep them.
Okay.
Take them all to the Great Lakes.
That's so much COVID.
Far away.
Well, it would make a nice movie out of it, wouldn't it?
Or you could do the creepy thing and you could like preserve it somehow with like some epoxy and be like, it's fake. I got it from Value Village.
Yeah, I just keep it and I eat breakfast with it every day.
I would just like.
So then we bring Whitney to the insane asylum because obviously there's some problems there.
Or they'd be like, "Why do you have these teeth in a bag? That is my
lost
They're all my
baby teeth."
Yeah.
My ginormous man
They're my
baby.
teeth.
Well, maybe I'd throw away a few and just like in a trash can in the city.
Well, I mean, like you could definitely just like
Keep a few.
leave a tooth on the side of the road and someone would be like, ew, a tooth, and
Or
they
they'd be
never
like,
pick it up.
No, take it to the beach. You'd be like, "These are rocks."
You could just like grind them up.
You could put them, you can get those weird rock smoothing machines where you just throw the rocks in and they tumble and then they do that with the
I
bones.
want one of those so bad.
Wait, hasn't that like happened where like somebody like can't you get your teeth turned into like a pearl necklace or something
God,
crazy?
I don't.
I'm
And
down.
hasn't that happened in a movie?
Probably.
Probably.
Or I mean,
Okay.
oftentimes I've definitely seen. I thought people would like just straight up put teeth on somebody's teeth on a necklace,
Gross.
not as like a common thing, just kind of like as a
We
thing
have
that
strayed from your question.
a scary
Yeah.
thing.
After I got my wisdom teeth removed, I demanded that I keep them.
Okay, well, so how specific did you want these? Is it rather
I
that?
think you went very specific.
So did you really care more about like whether we were going to help you dispose of the body or just immediately call the authorities on you?
Is this in your
Or was it-
plans? Is
Like-
Or is it about the disposal method that you really wanted to know about?
Like my original question was about the disposal method, but then I made it personal.
well, yeah,
And I wanted to know what you would
'cause-
do.
yeah.
And I'm very grateful that neither of you would immediately call the police.
Oh, they're getting called at some point.
I would.
For me?
Well, no, maybe not the police, but I would definitely seek some help, some
But
psychiatric.
it was an accident.
I just would have asked you. Did you
If it
want
was
me
an
to?
accident, why did we have to get rid of the body?
Because it was self-defense, but then I like stabbed them like 60 times, so I couldn't claim self-defense anymore.
I just
He just
needed-
wouldn't die.
I just needed to know what type of phone call we were about to be having about this said dead body. Is it like, do you want me to call the authorities on you because you don't want to, and that's why you're calling me, or
That
do
would
you
be
need
me.
my assistance?
That'd be me.
Oh, okay.
Or I'd be like, I'm going off grid forever. Would you like to come?
I'd probably say yes.
Yeah, but you gotta ditch your phone. and everything.
Oh, that's right.
Your cat can come.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't leave my material possessions, but then you'd be gone.
Off-grid life.
But like, if
I would go.
Thank you.
Of course.
But then, like, I would know though if you asked me and I said no, I would be a person.
No,
that
I would
knows.
just be like, I'm gonna go off-grid. Wanna come? And if you were like, nah, then I'd be like, okay, bye.
Were you gonna be like faking your death though, or are you just like telling everyone you know goodbye?
I could just be like goodbye, and then
That's kind of suspicious.
yeah, but like faking your death is so much work.
Oh my gosh.
You'd be
You need a
constantly on
body.
the run in the forest.
I just want to
Oh
go
my
to the
God.
forest.
I just had an epiphany. I kill someone in a motel room who looks like me, and then I claim that it's me, and then I can just go live my life in the forest. That's
But then
how
they'd think that you killed you, and then you would be suspected as the other
No,
person.
like I'm faking my death.
Yeah, but then someone killed Whitney, so like whoever killed Whitney, which was the person you really killed, we're gonna call her Stephanie. Now everyone's on the hunt for Stephanie. They think you're Stephanie because Stephanie killed Whitney, but really Whitney killed Stephanie.
But like, what if I make it look like it was myself killing myself?
Wouldn't you need 2 copies?
Oh.
Wait.
And then I switch our teeth.
There you go.
I guess, or just knock both your teeth out. That's probably hard. That's probably
Or you and
easier.
Stephanie could just go run away.
I don't know if Stephanie wants to though.
Yeah, I don't think Stephanie had much consent in this situation.
No, maybe I should have asked her first.
Yeah. Well, true crime
Anyway.
at its best.
Oh, this was an episode.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about some dark things.
Yeah, and laughed about a lot of it. This is definitely the Halloween episode if I've ever
Yes.
heard one. We are twisted.
This is a really fun one to record, though.
I don't think people are gonna like this.
People love true crime.
No, but we've just been gross the whole time.
Yeah, we kind of took it from true crime to what would you do if?
I mean, like, I don't. It's fine.
So people, like children got killed in an oil tank, and I said something funny, not directly about that, but shortly after. That seems a little inappropriate
That's
if you
what all
ask
the
me.
true crime podcasts do. They
These
talk
are
about
real
something sad and
people.
then
They
they
were affected.
Yeah.
What if
And
they heard
I'm
this?
not.
They're not.
Dead.
What if their family? I mean, what if their family heard it?
Something makes me think their family is not listening to true crime.
Like, I'm not laughing at the fact that children died. That's tragic. I'm just laughing.
Separately alongside. On that note, this has been a fantastic episode.
I give you 2 days before you're like, we can't upload this.
No, it's happening. It's happening. Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Well, this has been another spooky episode of Blanket Fort Books. If you want to hit up any of us with any of your concerns on our mental well-being or any suggestions for future podcasts, you can certainly hit Rachel up at Abrams Records on Twitter.
And I am Gabe on Twitter as Board Seed.
And I am Whitney on Twitter as Wit and Wisdoms. And our official Twitter is at Blanket Fort Book.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you so much, and we will catch you next week.
See you later.
Have a spooky night.